Join us, everybody. This is DA Wrestling. It's Wednesday. It's Dynamite review AEW. Doug's not with us today, so it's going solo again by myself. We're okay with this, though. Doug did a solo on SmackDown. Right, I would happen to be away for that time, so we're going to do it again this week with Dynamite as well. Swerve versus Okada ends with everybody in blood and guts in it. MARIAH kind of explains why she did it, and possibly the greatest AEW match in the history of the Dynamite TV. Who knows? We're going to talk about it too. But we're going to start today, though, Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho came out today after one of the best matches in the history of AEW, and started explaining how people need to listen to Chris Jericho. We all need to listen to Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho knows everything in the world. Saying that everybody should listen to him because if not, bad things will happen. He still gives examples of Samoa Joe getting put through a wall last week. Hook getting lit on fire a week before that. And Shibata getting beaten to hell. Chris Jericho says, no, everybody has to listen to me. This is the way it should be. I know everything on the learning tree, but why not? Which prompted out to come Minoru Suzuki to come out. The King, as they call him. One of the most craziest, dangerous men in the history of pro wrestling. Also, really fan favorite too. One of everybody's favorites from us that we got. Comes out. People love happy to see Minoru Suzuki in Little Rock, Arkansas, because that's where he emanated from AEW Dynamite this week. Has a contract in his hand saying at Blood and Guts Dynamite next week, it will be Minoru Suzuki versus Chris Jericho for the FTW World Title with the Redwood and the Bad Apple banned from ringside. I'm all for this. I'm okay with this. I mean, I'm sure Suzuki's not going to win, but I seeing Suzuki wrestle on TV fairly often. On here live on TV in Canada and the US is great for everybody. He's a fantastic individual, from what I understand. Great wrestler, and he is probably one of the best in the world still at his age. I mean, you can't really be wrong with it. You can't really go wrong with this match. I mean, they both can make each other look good. I mean, it's episode 250, and Chris Jericho was talking about how he's going to stay on for another 250 episodes. So hopefully Suzuki can knock him out for a while because this kind of needs to be done. It probably won't happen, but hopefully it needs to be done. Moving towards Mariah May. Mariah May comes out dressed like Toni Storm. Get that? Come dressed out like Storm. Looks almost like spinning like her too. It's quite interesting. Looked really good too. I don't know what to say about them. She looked really, really good. Comes out and says the one thing that I think everybody saw coming too. She actually just flat out says the thing you probably shouldn't say. That everyone saw it coming. Everyone knew this was going to happen. And the only person that didn't see it coming was Toni Storm. And she said she was having too much fun with it, having a lot of fun, just pretending to be favorites of Toni Storm, pretending to be friends with everybody. And it's just, she's sitting there and she goes, I wanted this to go on as much as I could, but I see Wembley in the horizon. And she goes, oh, I got to do Wembley. And so hence why she kind of basically beat the hell out of her to a bloody pulp on TV last week. She goes, why would I want to take her and just take her and, beat her from behind and not this? Well, I could do it in front of everybody at Wembley. Basically using the dead horse analogy. Why take the horse out back and shoot it when you can just do it in front of everybody? That's what she referred to Toni Storm basically as a horse. And frankly, at All In, at Wembley, I don't see Mariah May not winning this match. I don't. Toni Storm has had a great title run with the AEW Women's title, and quite frankly, I think you have to put it on Mariah May at this point. She's kind of earned it, in my opinion. If you don't like if you have a different opinion on it, that's great. Comment down below. Like, share, subscribe, guys, because I want to know what you think. So does Doug, and I think Mariah May is going to win it All In, and I think it's going to be in a somewhat convincing fashion. At least I think that should be. Like I think Tony Storm's gonna play off the whole scared of her, upset with her, and then let Mariah just beat the hell out of her. And quite frankly, that's the way it has to go. At least in my opinion. Uh After that, before that though, we had Mercedes versus the native beast Nyla Rose. Nyla Rose, like I don't know why they don't use her more often. She is very good. I remember when she was in AEW when AEW first really started, and she was just one of the most dominant individuals on that roster. And she's kind of lost. I guess they kind of like stopped doing whatever they want to do with her, and I feel that's wrong. They should have her more often in the title picture. I think, even though yes, this was a TBS title match, but they should have. She's not really dominant in like she's not constantly going for more contender slots. None of those things. At least not a recent memory. Maybe a year ago, but not recently. I feel like you should do more of her. She's very intimidating. She's a large force. She's like that. I'd say scarier version of Nia Jax. I mean, if you want to give that analogy. But no. Anyway, Mercedes Moné ends up winning the match. Tries to win with a lockjaw, Britt Baker's finishing move, but couldn't seem to get it done right. Even had her own special glove that said CEO on it. It looked like Catwoman's glove. Ends up getting her with the, it's called the Monet statement now, which formerly used to be called the bank statement. Wins with that. After the match, she celebrated her match with her 2 titles. She's a fan wearing a Sting mask saying MDMD is the best, and Sasha Banks is all offended and rips it up. That fan turns around, pushes her on the ground, and reveals it's Britt Baker. Britt Baker goes after her. Fortunately, doesn't really get her hands on her. Security ends up stopping the other way. The reason that happened was previously, before Mercedes Moné went out to ringside, she ended up running into the EVPs, and they told her, "No, everything's safe. Britt's been banned from the back. You don't have to worry about a thing tonight. You're all good." And we kind of, in a weird way, asked to see Mercedes Moné do her money dance. It's kind of weird. I don't understand the reason behind it. I guess it's kind of one of those creepy things, I guess. Not exactly. I'm not a biggest fan of this. Like I like her heel work in WWE better than I do now. It's almost like it's being forced. And it's just not coming off to me. To me, it's just not coming off as comes off more like annoying bratty girl than it does an actual heel wrestler. But that's the way she wants to go. That's fine. I just don't find it very appealing. I don't think it's great at all. I just don't. I just not the biggest fan of this version of Mercedes and what she's doing. That's just my opinion on it. If you don't think and that's fine. I'm entitled to my opinion as I'm sure lots of people are enjoying her heel turn or the way she's playing this heel. That's fine. I just don't find it to be. I feel like it could be brought up a few more notches. I think than we mentioned Ali earlier. So next week is Blood and Guts. Blood and Guts next week with All Elite with the Elite versus Team AEW. Team AEW was completed tonight. Early in the back, they had Mark Briscoe doing an interview, and Max Caster and Anthony Bolas came out and said, "We should be on the team here. We've pinned the Young Bucks. We know what they're doing. We know we could get them." Mark Briscoe, "That's a great idea. I think we should do it, but I need to ask somebody else too." And Swerve comes in. Swerve says he's had drew blood with both these guys before. He's more than happy to have him on the team. They only still had 4 men. The 5th one was going to be revealed later on tonight, which moving into the Swerve and Okada match. Swerve and Okada match was one of those matches you thought you'd see maybe on a pay-per-view. We got to see it on live TV for this 250th episode of AEW Dynamite. It was a really good match, really back and forth. Swerve had a lot of good high spots there, as well as Okada. The match did eventually break down when Jack Perry and the Elite did attack Swerve Strickland in the ring. but not all the elites reacted. Really, only the Bucks and Jack Perry attacked him. Jack Perry started attacking everybody, which brought out Mark Briscoe, which brought out the Acclaimed. They were attacking everybody, and it was a giant brawl ensued. Eventually, it came down to Swerve got everybody out of the ring. And who came down was Hangman Page. They had a face-to-face. Hangman on the other side of the ring, Swerve inside. Okada ends up tripping Swerve. Back and they about to attack him. They start fighting more on the outside. They start going out there. Everybody on the Elite and Team AEW start fighting the outside, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the music we haven't really heard that much in the past number of months was Darby Allin's music. And Darby Allin comes coming, well, let's say shooting down through the rafters, as just like Sting, and the crowd popped for Darby Allin. The crowd went absolutely insane for Darby. Darby is still one of the most over guys in AEW. There's just no doubt about it in my mind. So he is the 5th member. They put the graphic up. So he will be Blood and Guts next week on Dynamite. And funny note too, I saw Sean Ross Sapp posted actually tweet on X shortly after that Martha Hart has given AEW her blessing in order to do that spot due to Owen Hart's untimely death several years ago, numbers of years ago now. So that's really cool to see. I mean, Sting's been doing it for the longest time, to be honest with you. So it's good to see that, and I'm sure Blood Guts is going to be a great show. Usually is. I don't know. Like compared to the first Blood and Guts, it's hard. I always remember the first Blood and Guts with MGF, where he kind of threw Chris Jericho off the top of the cage. So I always think about that. So it's hard to really top that one in my mind. They've had a few good ones, but I don't know how this one's going to go. You think of I don't think of these guys a lot as guys who will get vicious. Yeah, the Young Bucks have done, Stadium Stampede and all this stuff, those fun matches. I don't know though about this one, dude. I just don't know if this is going to be the one that's really hits it off for them. I just don't know. I mean, my opinions matter. Some people will probably like it. I mean, I know I'll definitely watch it next week for sure, and follow up on it, what goes on and how I feel about it. But I'm looking forward to it. But I just don't know how it's going to be transcribed. But yeah, we'll find out what happens. Let's get to the elephant room now. About time to do this. AEW 250th episode of Dynamite. Arguably, probably, maybe easy to say, maybe hard to say, the greatest AEW TV match, possibly one of the greatest TV matches ever. It went almost a full 60 minutes. For the most part, commercial free. They did the 2-in-2, the 2-in-1 stuff there. I don't know if you guys get that. If you'll get that in the US or not. I know here in Canada on TSN, we get the whole in the camera going there, action showing, and then you have commercials. You just can't really hear what's going on. A hell of a good match. Like really long, really exciting. Lots of pinfalls. Really had a lot of fun with each other. MJF versus, I'm talking about obviously about MJF versus Will Ospreray. If you guys didn't see this match, take the time. It's about 58 minutes. 58 minutes to 58 minutes, 60 minutes. Go watch the match. It's really good. It should be on probably the website soon. But take a look at it. It starts off with both guys really just having fun with each other. MJF doing some posing, right? And sneak attack, trying to hit each other, right? They Ospreay do the exact same thing. It moves out to they just start beating the hell out of each other. Excellent match here. Out of nowhere, well, MJF's obviously doing his typical heel stuff, right? Flipping off the crowd, telling the crowd F themselves, all those things. Typical heel stuff for MJF. At one point, though, a couple of really cool maneuvers really came in there. MJF tried to go for what is it called? I don't want to call it dead. It's not dead eye, but it's almost like, well, he tried to do a special maneuver that he usually does. I can't remember, it skips the name off me right now. and he doesn't get it, but instead pulls Osprey over the top rope right into a cut. That was just really interesting, really inventive between these two guys. And you knew this was going to happen, a match like this between Osprey and MJF. Two of the two of arguably the best in the world right now. If you think about your top five wrestlers on planet Earth right now, at least in the male division, um, if your MJF and Will Ospreay aren't in the top five, there's probably something wrong with you. Um, I mean, but it's a matter of opinion. I don't know if I'd put them at one or two, but I know they're in my top five probably right now. With Roman probably in there, even though Roman hasn't wrestled a lot this year at all. But Roman's in there, probably Cody. And so like it's hard to say right now, but probably a top five for sure for those two guys. Uh Seems at one point though that Will Ospreay did tweak his leg a little bit and then ended up hurting his arm off attempted Oz cutter off the side off the edge of the ring. He tried to go for one of the edge of the ring. MJF moved out of the way, literally just stepped back and landed smacking the shoulder right to the edge of the ring. He just carried out the entire show, the entire episode. It was an excellent show. Typical MJF, like I said, he flipped off a lot of the Arkansas crowd. At one point, they go out to the crowd, and MJF is just getting beaten up by Osprey. Osprey's beating up on the steps, and he's holding MJF, and he's beating him. And a little girl out from Little Rock starts beating on MJF, and Osprey goes, "No, no, no, no! You can't do that." And you just see MJF flip her off, like literally flipped her off in front of everybody. Eventually, Osprey beats him down a little more, and Osprey and her kind of do a little like fist bump to make have a time. I'm pretty sure he just told her can't do that, but it was a good time. They had a fight in and out of the ring, all over the place. Osprey this entire time too was very much selling the shoulder that he had injured. It was really, really a lot of work done in this match. Like I said, I highly suggest you do it. Go watch it. At one point, Will Ospreay did do a style slash from the second rope, and you think there he almost was going to have the win. He was going to have the win. He didn't. At this point, they were probably about they started mentioning about 1 minute left in the match, and they slowly start doing a whole bunch of pinfalls. Eventually, the referee gets knocked down. It doesn't get knocked out like you would think, where you have like outside interference, but it's getting knocked down to the point where MJF was able to get his Dynamite diamond ring out and cracked Osprey. And literally the match ended with the last 2 seconds left on the count, where MJF got 1, 2, 3. There's only 2 seconds left on the thing would cause it to be a draw. So MJF is your new AEW International Champion. How do I feel about this? I'm okay with it. I have nothing wrong with this. My guess is this match will be revisited in a few weeks at All In Wembley. That's my guess right now. I thought maybe they might have Osprey going into as a champion, but it looks like they might have to have him win that title at All In. So let me see what goes on, but I think that's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to bring in another, say, Daniel Garcia back into the mix for a triple threat. And I don't think they really need to if they're going to do Osprey versus MJF again. But they might do that. I mean, I'm not too sure. We'll have to wait to see if I know. It is on August 25th. We are literally over a month away from All In at Wembley. So the match card started. It's really showing now the match card. Like I said, you have Toni Storm versus Mariah May. You have Swerve versus Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. All right, so you have those 2 matches already. You're probably getting Elite versus the Acclaimed. You already have also Britt Baker. Hasn't been signed. He hasn't been signed yet, but more likely Britt Baker versus Mercedes Moné for the TBS title. So the card is going to shape up looking really good. This is Wembley. This is a big event. Last year it was huge. This year they're probably going to try and make it as big, if not bigger. Right now the card is looking really good, so I'm looking forward to it. That was basically AEW Dynamite, guys. It was a very quick 2 hours. There really wasn't a lot of matches on the show. But that match, the Osprey MJF match, did take almost the entire almost the entire 1 hour. So it looks like some of the matches might have been pushed back a little bit longer, shorter than probably what they should have been, and saving some of the segments. Uh, Other than that, it was really like at one point there you saw it in the show. Jack Perry beat up one of the Elite's former camera guys they used to use. I can never remember his name right now because it's just that relevant to me at times. So, oh, sorry, Brandon Cutler. He beat up Brandon Cutler. I so it wasn't much else really on this card. It was really just those three matches and then a couple other stuff. So next week, yeah, we do have Blood and Guts coming on this next week. We will have the Blood and Guts match, obviously, with Team Elite versus Team AEW. And right now we also have Chris Jericho versus Minoru Suzuki for the FTW title. So who knows what's going to happen next? I'm sure next week we'll hear from Mariah May again. I'm sure next week we'll probably hear from Osprey and MJF more than likely. So next week will be a packed card again. It was a good episode. The past number of Dynamites have been very good. They really have been. So they're slowly starting to come back out of what they become. Now it's starting to go back to what they used to be. So it's starting to look like AEW is starting to climb out of that cellar that they've got to put themselves in. But I mean, it's hard to really go against that juggernaut right now that is WWE. It really is. It's almost like they want to be that all new alternative instead of not doing as many WWE wise stuff. Probably best to say that. Also, though, in other news today, though, too, Big E posted on X this afternoon, eTor, saying he had stem cell treatment done for his neck. It's been over just a little bit, a couple weeks that's happened. He's gonna get done. So we'll see what happens there. He gave a big up. He's happy with everybody's all support that he's been getting and all those things. So hopefully Big E does come back out soon. We'll see what happens with Big E. Who knows what will happen with him down the line, whether he ever wrestles again or not. But there has been a lot of work with stem cell treatment nowadays with a lot of athletes and just in general people in general. It does help rebuild the muscles, from what I understand, and the nerves, from what I've been reading about it. So, looking forward to it. Other than that, guys, that is AEW Dynamite. That was the review. That was what we go through here. Guys, if you're liking the content, make sure you like, share, subscribe down below. Right? If you do, maybe might want to check out this video down below here. You'll probably enjoy it. All right, have a good night, everybody. Take it easy.